Along the path we parted ways. I walk the night, you tread the day, and we forgot we slept in knots all on the sunset coast. We shared our meals, we shared our songs, by candlelight or by the sun. I know you've sung 1,000 more since the time you've gone.
Hello everyone, this is Chad Redding here with Ruck Rabbit Outdoors. Today we are out on the Tuscarora Trail. It's a little 2 days after Christmas, and we're out here on a kind of a cloudy day. It's a little foggy up here on the mountain, but we're up on the Blue Ridge mountain range above Carlisle off of Pennsylvania Route 74. Today I'm taking you guys out to see another shelter along here. This is one of the few shelters that are along the Tuscarora Trail, and it's really a cool place. The way it's built is the Charlie Irvin Shelter. Right now we are, like I said, off Route 74 on a place called Wagoner's Gap, and this is actually one of the Audubon hawk watching areas here in Pennsylvania. It's really cool. During the migration season for the hawks and eagles, as they're heading south, they'll hit these mountain ranges and they'll use the updrafts to curl up and then shoot down the valley. People come up here from all across the state and other places to watch the hawks and see other wildlife. And it's a really cool area. So if you ever get down here in south central Pennsylvania, be sure to check it out. The trail, like I said, that we are on today is the Tuscarora Trail, and it is very rough. I actually did a video way back at the beginning of the channel called The Taste of the Trails, and it was okay, but we're going to actually give you guys a really good view of the trail today. There was some snow earlier in the week before Christmas. Down in the lower elevations, a lot of it has melted. Here up on the mountain, there still is some snow in areas where the sun hasn't reached. The last time I was here, it was back around this time, I'd say like mid-January. The fog had actually frozen and there was hoarfrost on all the trees. But today we're going to go out and we're going to show you guys the shelter. So with that, let's go. Okay, now as you did hear in the intro, you will hear some traffic. We are near the trailhead off of Route 74, and you can see the terrain that's here. And the trail is like this the whole way to the shelter. You can see there's some snow still here. And we're just gonna work our way along here. As we get further in, you won't hear much traffic, but we're at one of the gaps where the road crosses over the mountain, so it's heavily traveled, so that's why you heard traffic in the background. But the last time I was here, like I said, it was foggy, and the fog had froze to the trees and the bushes, and there was hoarfrost everywhere. It was really beautiful, but the downside is that all of these rocks were covered in ice. It was quite a trip. Now this shelter is relatively new. I would say the map I have is probably about 6 or 7 years old. And you can get maps for the Tuscarora Trail. It's a trail that starts down in Virginia, does kind of a arc up through Maryland, or actually starts in Virginia, does an arc up through into Maryland, and up into Pennsylvania, and then ends up here on the Blue Mountain Range. And this is the range on the north of the Cumberland Valley, as we call it. And sorry, I have to be careful going over these rocks. There are some snow, so I don't want to slip. Anyhow, the northern terminus of the trail is down that way on the ridge. And this is, since it comes off the Appalachian Trail, this is a blue blazed trail. And ends at the AT at the Darlington Shelter, which is further down on this ridge. So if you actually go to the AT, which is east of here, along the roads in the valley, and you hike up the mountain, this Blue Mountain Range, you will find the northern terminus of this trail. And what's cool about this area is there are a lot of terminuses on this section of the AT that goes over the mountain there. Because not only do you have the terminus here in the Tuscarora, the terminus of this trail, the Tuscarora, you also have the northern terminus of the Mason-Dixon Trail. So this mountain range has a lot of cool areas. The Darlington Trail, that kind of goes east-west, also terminates here at the Tuscarora. Okay, we are now entering a wildlife sanctuary, so there is no hunting on this area. It says, I'll hold the camera here so you guys can read that. But it's the Florence Jones Reineman Wildlife Sanctuary. Access by written permission only. No hunting, fishing, or trapping. No wood cutting, no dumping, no authorized vehicles, and no horseback riding. You can, however, stay on the Tuscarora Trail. So this is actually a privately owned wildlife sanctuary. So here you go. For the next 3/4 mile, the Tuscarora Trail follows a boundary between the F.J. Reineman Wildlife Sanctuary property and the Audubon Hawkwatch property, which we just left, and crosses between one property and the other several times. Please observe the following rules. No hunting or camping. Carry out all trash. Keep pets on leash. No fires, no trapping. Foot traffic only. Stay on the trail. However, you can camp at the shelter. You just can't do any wild camping. You can't camp off the trail. There's another sign there. Basically, it says this is a privately owned nature reserve. Visitors must stay on trail. Violations may result in trespassing charges and trail closure, and that's something we don't want. So please, people, when you're out here, sorry about the camera shaking a little bit, visiting these areas, make sure that you follow the rules. When we get to the shelter, you'll actually see boundaries of where you can stay. So you can stay in the shelter and some surrounding areas. Might actually have to switch into my mittens. It's getting cold up here. I think it was cool, warmer in the valley, and I always prepare for it to be warmer. But my fingers are cold. So yeah, as far as it's concerned, I'm only allowed on the trail. And the AT is like this in spots. There's spots where the AT, you only have the bypass area that you go through. And you can see here that people are really doing their best to keep the trail passable. You see all this down wood, which was cut. And this terrain is typical of these mountaintops on this mountain ridge. The South Mountain Ridge, which is on the other side of the Cumberland Valley, and that's actually the drop off over there. We'll get a better view of it when we get to the shelter. The South Mountain ridges are a little more, not as rough as this. Not saying that they're easy in areas, but my experiences in the South Mountains don't seem to have quite this roughness to them as the Blue Ridge does. And these are all part of the Appalachian Mountains, of course. But yeah, this is basically what we're going to be humping over here for a while. Just kind of moving along. And yeah, it's a little harder. Whoops. With the camera. There's some cool history on the Tuscarora, which is really neat. And basically, there was an indigenous people tribe who wanted to join, and this was probably, I think, mid 1700s. There's an indigenous people to the south here who wanted to join up with the Iroquois nation up north, and they had to trek north to do that. Well, the problem it was between them, where they were and where they wanted to go, was a group of guys called the Paxton Boys, and that's part of PA lore here. These guys were very anti-indigenous people, and that's just how they were back then. I'm not condoning it at all. And they definitely did not like the indigenous people. And to avoid those guys, when they marched north, what they basically did was they traveled the ridge tops, because the colonial settlers had settled in the valleys. And to avoid the people, they stayed to the ridge tops. And that was the whole point. They didn't want to run into the Paxton Boys, because they probably would have massacred them all, because they weren't good guys. Just really cool landscape. And I'm seeing signs all along the trail side, and I'm running the boundary of the wildlife refuge, which is to my right. And we're moving up the uphill a little bit. So yeah, this has some history, the Tuscarora. I'd say this is probably one of my favorite trails. I really like this trail a lot. And I think because it's not hiked as hard, this section probably is. This little piece, on account of it's closer to the road. But when you get further out, it's really rough. I was on the ridge, east of here, and was hiking in the summertime several years ago, and it was really overgrown. So this isn't like as well manicured as the AT is. It's taken care of. I mean, you saw that back there, but it's not as taken care of as the AT. So I love it for that reason. It's a little more wilder, rougher, and it doesn't get as much publicity, but it's still a good trail. And we're on the ridge top here now, and just moving along. I think it's like just above freezing, or it might actually be freezing up here on the mountain. down the valley, it's probably like 35, 36 degrees. But this is a lot easier than the last time I was here. Don't have all the ice. Still gotta be careful on these rocks. Okay, I'm gonna make some time here, and I'll show you guys the approach when we get close to the trail. Yeah, just a kind of eerie landscape. I've never been up here in the summer. This area, this part of the trail. Other parts, but not this part. And it's definitely a cool area. One I really love and enjoy. I mean, I love all the PA, but this area I really like. Okay, I'll show you guys the rest of the area here. When I get closer to the actual shelter. So, like I said, this isn't one that you guys were going to see too often. Not a lot of people know about it unless you hike the Tuscarora. The AT is obviously the famous trails. These side trails don't get as much used. What that marker is, I have no idea. So this is quite interesting. That is a boundary for public hunting lands. You can see it there. There we go. So we're on a boundary for public hunting lands where you can actually hunt on that side of the mountain. And on the other side, on this side, you have the wildlife preserve. So quite interesting. The trail definitely cuts through boundaries here. That's what all the red is right here. All the pink. You know, that's the boundary for the game lands. Here's a map here. This ain't a map, it's just another sign. I'll show you guys that one. So it's the Florence Jones Rhineman Wildlife Sanctuary. So like I said, I'm literally running the border between lands you can hunt on and lands you can't hunt on, which is quite interesting. And you can't camp on that side. You can, however, camp in game lands in certain instances. So you might be able to come up here and do some camping. Now the problem is, where are you going to pitch a tent? Maybe on the mountainside down a little bit. And I guarantee you, well, if you had a hammock, you probably could definitely do it. You can see, hardly hear any of the traffic anymore. But if you guys like these videos, and I'm trying to do more of these, please like and subscribe. You know, get it out there. We greatly appreciate that. You know, that's, get the word out, get us known. And if you enjoy it, spread the word, because that way other people can enjoy it too. And that's why we do this. Okay, we have another sign up here. Your little birds. So there's life even in winter. Basically, it's just a sign that says, stay on the trail. And on these ridge tops, here in Pennsylvania. That's actually a good idea. During this time of year, it's not as much of a problem, but it's a good idea to stay on the trail because these ridge tops have a tendency to have a lot of timber rattlers on. And they can be either docile or they can be ornery. Every snake is an individual, just like people are. And we're getting close to, we're entering more into the conservation area. Like I said, when my maps are a little older, before this shelter was built, and it says proposed shelter site on it. It has been built since then, but I'm going to definitely have to get a new updated map. The trail hasn't changed, and the shelter exists now, but it just says proposed. So we'll have to get a new map for that section at least. And a good map is a valuable resource. Do not depend on GPS. You know, it's just not good because your GPS or your phone could die, and even with a charger, you can have some issues. Little natural bench there. Pretty cool. I don't know, somebody stacked. Nobody stacked that. That's been there a while. It has moss on it, which is pretty cool. Lichen, actually. Now, I know I said I was going to go, but I'm just rattling on. It is so quiet here. Sorry about that. I was a little off kilter. Just so quiet. You can make out a little bit of noise coming up from the valley, but it's just so quiet here. And this time of year, that's why I like hiking in the wintertime. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't like hiking in the wintertime. And it's something you should do. You know, you get quiet like this. I do see some boot prints from other people, but they're older. But that doesn't mean there isn't anybody at the shelter. We're going to find out. But it just gives you time to, you know, be one with the woods and see things you normally can't see with all the overgrowth. I'm going to come back. We're going to come back here. We're actually going to do a camp out here one time. Something I wanted to do for a while. Never have done. But I think we're going to make that happen this year. So we'll see. Moving gingerly along here and trying not to step on the snow because other people have stepped there and then it freezes into ice. And don't want to step between the rocks because the leaves like to hide holes that swallow up your foot. As much as I love hiking in the snow and rocks like this, it can be a little dangerous. And this is why you should always come out with appropriate gear and appropriate footwear. You know, I'm running light today. I'm not, if I had to, I could spend the night in an emergency. But it wouldn't be comfortable, that's for sure. Just a very eerie landscape. an adjustment to how I was holding the tripod. Hear any creaking, that's my boots. They're still breaking in. Had these things for a while, but they still like to creak. Okay, we're gonna bring you guys back here in a little bit. I want to make some better time. I should be getting close, but when I see the shelter, we'll shoot the approach video and you guys can see it as I find it, like we like to do. Like I said, I haven't been up here in probably 5 or 6 years, if not longer. Might be longer. Yeah, we got some harder rock fuel coming up here. I'll give you guys a shot of that here in a second. It's a little gap in the mountain here. You can see me approaching it. Let's get it. There's the rock field. Trail goes around it right there, but it still traverses the rocks. You have a little gap here. Let's get in the gap so you guys can see. This whole mountain, this whole top is nothing but rocks here. There's trees, but they're growing out of the rocks. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The valley's down that way. Alright, I'm going to traverse this and then I will get back with you guys. Okay, we are along the very edge of the ridge. And down there, see if I can just get it to blow up just a little bit. It's hard to see. Down there's the valley. You can see there's the edge there. You just make out some of the fields. And it's a little foggy. If the trees weren't there, you might be able to see a good long ways. So we're back up on the trail here. And the Tuscarora, we just came through all that. And the Tuscarora is running right now. It wasn't running in the middle of the ridge. Now it's running like kind of on the edge. And we came across, we're going to work up here. A stick hanging on my feet. This yellow blaze. And what that denotes is the boundary of where the shelter is. So we are actually approaching the shelter here. So we'll do the approach shot, excuse me, here to make an adjustment. And we're running right along the edge of the wilderness area. There's a house down there. You can just barely make out. We're going to run along the trail here, and you can just see the shelter here. See the snow on the top of the roof. The last time I was here, this did not have a privy, so it was a really nice shelter as far as the way it's built and all that. Wasn't as rough as it's more than a lean-to. It's not as rough as the one that we just did along the river on the Mason-Dixon. And you can see all the yellow blazes on the trees there. And basically that's the boundary of the wilderness area. So that way, if you are camping, you're not in the wilderness area. If you happen to find an area to set up a tent. Such a cool place. Looks like they added a privy. Pretty cool. That's that little building down there. And you guys are like, oh, he's getting excited about a bathroom. Well, I'm telling you, that's a luxury on these trails. Really cool. So let's see if we can kind of get in the weeds here off the trail so you guys can get kind of a good view of this thing. So we're literally on the mountainside, and there's the privy, and there's the shelter. Kind of a shot of it. We're coming in off the backside, but it looks out into the valley, which is really cool. It has a porch. It's almost built like a little log cabin with an open end. Let's go around this. Let's get back on the trail here. So yeah, there's a yellow boundary there. There's a yellow boundary, in case you don't know. And this is the shelter area. So you're allowed to have a fire here. And here's a really good shot of it. This is from the back side. I had a duck under a tree there. See, this is much more to this versus that Adirondack primitive shelter that you had along the river on the Mason-Dixon. You know, much more to this shelter. This is very similar to the AT shelter. It's really cool that they had a privy. Okay, we're gonna go down the trail here. This is the Charlie Irvin Shelter. The PATC is the Pacific Appalachian Trail Club. Not the Pacific, the Potomac. Sorry about that, guys. The Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. And what that is a club, you know, like the AT, the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club does. You know, a bunch of volunteers that come out here and they groom this trail. They keep it in good working order, like we saw earlier, where they cut the tree down, sections of the tree out, so it's passable. Even though they don't do it as much on this trail, and you can see that's all the boundaries. So basically, yellow is the shelter area. So anywhere in this area, all along the shelter itself, the privy, there's a little bit of a flat spot up there. You could actually probably camp. So let's go into the shelter itself. Really cool. I see a fire pit. Really nice fire pit with a windbreak. You could sit there, some logs. And here's a really cool shot of this thing. You know, just really cool area. It's been a while since I've been here, and blows me away every time I see this. And that's just the view, which is hard to see with this fog because we're on the mountain, but you can just imagine, you know, we'll come up here, especially during the fall, how beautiful it'd be up here. So let's go check out the amenities. Definitely a nice place. It even has a rain spout. That's awesome. Really nice. Looks like they collect rainwater. See that?
That's kind of neat. That's new. I don't think that was here the last time I was here. There's a sign there. So let's see what that sign says. So it says, we'll zoom in there. Please use this water to douse your fire. This water is non-potable, which means it is not for drinking, which I could expect. Now that noise you're hearing is the jake brake of a tractor trailer going down the road. We're about a mile or so from the road, from the trailhead where I'd parked my vehicle. So yeah. Okay, let's get on the porch here. Stay on trail. Failure to do so could result in closure. Cameras are in place along the private woods road. Violators will be prosecuted by the owner. So please, I mean, people are like, oh, let's go and explore this. But the thing is, you have to understand, that will cause closure for all of us, and it ruins for all of us who use these areas and love these places. And then, welcome to the Charlie Irvin Shelter in Overlook. The shelter was built and is maintained by the North Chapter of the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club on land owned by Audubon, Pennsylvania. Please observe the following rules inside the shelter and overlook area. The boundaries are which marked by the yellow blazes. So like I said, basically all the rules for the shelter apply within the yellow. So yes, you can have a campfire and you can camp here. Do not go outside the shelter area except on the Tuscarora Trail. Camping is permitted, but only in the shelter area. Absolutely no fires in or near the shelter building. Small campfires are permitted, but only in the stone fire ring. Do not cut or deface any standing trees, dead or alive. Observe sound environmental and conservation practices. Keep pets on a leash within the shelter area along the trail. No hunting or trapping is permitted. Leave area clean upon departure. Carry out all trash and garbage. When outside the shelter area, stay on the trail. And then here it gives you the mileage. So the north terminus that I told you about of the Tuscarora Trail is about 12.9 miles. The Darlington AAT shelter is 13.1 miles northbound on here. And southbound, the Wagon Wheel shelter, which is down in Colonel Denning State Park, is about 10.8 miles. So these shelters are spread out further than they are on the AT. If you go through Michaud section, oh man, I just love the view here. Like I said, this is just fantastic. Sorry about my finger there. There's a farm down there. You can see Carlisle. I can't imagine what this look at night, especially with the Christmas lights and all that. Oh, it'd probably be awesome. I'll have to come out here next year during this time and spend the evening. Just such a cool area. Okay. Yeah. And here we have the shelter proper. Typical 3-walled shelter. There's the privy down there. And looks like somebody's been hanging out here. Looks like they're leaving cooking utensils, the grills, mountain pie makers. And this was not left here by the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. I can tell you that right now. This is the actual register. Always have a broom so you can sweep it out. The only thing I could say is, even though this is south looking to get the sun, the wind, and there's just a slight breeze right now. The wind blows up the mountain from the mountaintop. If you look at this flag, so I can imagine the wind, if it's howling, comes into the shelter head. So I would be definitely throwing a tarp across this. Somebody left looks like a chair here. I don't know what the hell this is. Looks almost like eggnog. I don't know. That could be pee for all I know. It's definitely We're not going to be touching that because we don't know what that is, but yeah, they'll take all this out when they come in. They might leave the this stuff on, but they'll probably take all this out. This is junk as far as the shelter keepers are concerned. Takes up room that you could use to sleep in. Like I said, nobody wants to handle that because who only knows. But really cool area. Just wish it wasn't ruined by the trash, but hey. But yeah, you could see like we're right on the side of the mountain. Right on the side of the mountain. Just so awesome. Wish it was snowing. Of course, then you wouldn't be able to see anything in the valley then. But yeah, really neat. Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna get some lunch here. You know, make some coffee or something warm to warm myself up. It looks like there's a trail here that goes down a little bit. Let's walk down here once, see what we can find. Or is that just a walkover area? Yeah. Yeah, you can see the Tuscarora keeps going along there. Really neat area. There's another view of the shelter itself. I think that's nice that they provide water to douse the fire. That's really cool. Smart idea. I like that. But this is typically how the modern shelters are made nowadays. They have a porch. They'll have a really higher roof like that. They won't be as low. They'll have a little more room in them compared to the older style shelter that you saw on the Mason-Dixon down there along the river. So, all right, I'll get back with you guys, and I'm gonna make some lunch and a little bit of lunch, make some coffee or something hot to drink, and then I'm gonna give you guys an update. We got some stuff coming up here this year.
So, what do we got coming up? I said I was going to give you guys some updates. So I'll give you some quick updates here while I drink my coffee and have a little bit of a snack before I head back out. We got a lot coming up in 2025 for Ruck Rabbit Outdoors. We're going to continue our partnership with Timothy Renner of Strange Familiars. We're going to really be out there. We weren't out much this year, but we're going to be out with him a lot. Actually, matter of fact, I was just out with him the weekend before Christmas. Actually, it was last weekend. So check that out. Check that episode out. It's a Patreon episode, so you'll have to be a patron of Strange Familiars to see that episode, or hear that episode of the podcast. We have something else in the works. The technology's finally here, so we're finally going to be working on that. Something really big. We'll announce that when we get closer to it. Another thing is this year we're going to be doing a lot more traveling. We're going to be doing more adventures like this of the Gimme Shelter series. We've been taking you guys to more shelters here in the area and a little further out. And we're going to actually do some adventures. We've never done any overnights. I mean, I've camped, I've done overnights, but I never brought you guys along. I never shot videos of that. So that's something we're going to do this year. We're going to show you some of the places that I go. I mentioned it in the Strange Familiars podcast. Places on the ATs. We're probably going to pick some select areas further out from South Central Pennsylvania, but most of our focus is in this area, but we're going to travel beyond. So we're going to be taking you guys on some actual camping trips. You'll see some of the gear we use, some of the people I hang out with, some of the other Ruck Rabbit crew you guys haven't ever met. So that's going to be happening this year. We're going to, of course, continue our partnership with Sunnywald, which is Sunnywald Foods in Spring Grove, Pennsylvania, located in my native York County. We're going to be having our Walk with the Woodsman event there. That starts in April and runs through September. It's free. I don't want to call them seminars. It's more like, how would you describe that? It's more like free, we show you how to do things. Couldn't think of the word. It's okay, I'm not afraid to laugh at myself. But we're going to be demonstrations. There we go, that's what I was looking for. We're going to be doing some free demos like we always do there. Followed by a walk around the farm where I actually show you some foraging, show you some plants you can use for food and outdoors type stuff. You know, just plants and trees, native mostly here to South Central Pennsylvania. A lot of the trees and plants they have there are also located in other areas of PA and the northeast area of the United States, North America. So we're going to be doing that there. And they're free of charge, So we'll announce the times and the dates when it gets closer. We're going to be working we're hammering out those details with Sunnywald shortly. And usually it's about 3 hours in the morning on every... Oh, we have some trail people.
What's going
Hi.
on?
Just shooting a video, guys.
Oh.
Oh, you're okay.
All right.
I'm almost done. So you never know who's going to show up at these shelters, which is really cool.
Oh, you're shooting it this way, okay.
Yeah. So with that, like I said, we're going to be working with Sunnywald. We're going to be having more of the free events there. We'll announce them when they come along. And with that, since we got some company here, we're going to say hi to these guys. Fair weather and safe journeys, and come out and check this place out. It's a really cool shelter here along the Tuscarora. It's a really cool place to hang out. And when you're here, please clean up, take your trash with you. That's low impact. Leave only footprints if possible. So remember, if you like what you see, like and subscribe, and fair weather and safe journey.
So it is you've flown away, my friend, I think on you today. I hope sometimes you sing my songs all on the sunset coast.